just happened.
1 second. And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, Fitz. Hey, Fitz. Hey. Everybody, this is Fitz Kohler, one of my dear friends. I met her earlier this year at the Mud Girl Run in Jersey and in DC, right?
Yes, sir.
And Fitz has a long bio. It's just to say she's accomplished a lot. She's a breast cancer survivor. She's a mom. She's a fitness enthusiast. She's an author. You guys have a copy of her book autographed in your swag bag. So it hits you as hard as it hits me. Fitz, I'm not going to steal your thunder. This is your show, ma'am. Please talk to my ladies at the retreat.
Thank you, Coach Walter. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I can't tell you how sad I am not to be with you. We had this collision of dates, and I'm a real hugger. So know that right now, if I were there, I would be kind of groping each of you. And I hope you feel that. I hope you feel that. I'm so excited to be here with you. You know, it's interesting. So, Coach Walter, very sweet intro, but I'm a fitness expert. I have a master's degree in exercise sports sciences. I started teaching when I was 14 years old. I worked at Cinnabon in the mall, and making Cinnabons is probably one of the most contrary things to fitness you can do. But there I was. Unfortunately, my manager was really cranky and mean. And so eventually I quit Cinnabon and I applied to work at the women's fitness center nearby called Spa Lady. And I just loved it. I had already been attending the gym and really enjoying the benefits of exercise and taking the class and so forth. But once I started working there and started, teaching fitness and so forth, it was fascinating to see these women, not only their physical transformations. If you want to lose weight, it's great to lose weight. It feels good. Making muscles feels great, and their bodies were getting better. But all of a sudden, everything in their life was getting better, right? They stood up straighter. They had more confidence, a little more pep in their step. They were more lighthearted. They were having more success at work. They were dumping bad relationships in exchange for really good ones. And I fell in love with the overwhelming power of fitness to upgrade everything in our world, right? Do you guys agree with me on that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. No, fascinating is not the right word. I'm freaking thrilled to be with you because for all the work I do, sometimes maybe there's some unwilling parties in the audience, right? They get stuck. Their boss has brought me in as a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So sometimes, a boss hires me to come and do keynotes, and then maybe someone in the audience, they don't care so much, right? Maybe they're annoyed by me. But then there's those folks who want to do what I say. And if it's a person who doesn't really care about their health, I have to do a lot of arm twisting. And the arm twisting is exhausting. I don't want to do that. I mean, do I want to convince people? Do I want to compel them to bite off on health and fitness and our lifestyle? Yes, I do. However, it is so much more wonderful when Coach Walter gives me an entire room full of women who say, hell yes, we are invested in our physical health. We are invested in our mental health. And we want more for ourselves. We want to do better. We want to be better. And just having us all on the same page is such a freaking gift. So if you've already reached into your bag and you've seen my new book, it's called You Supercharged, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. And I thought supercharged would be the right word because that's my version of upgrade everything. Not some things, not pick away at this part of our body and make it curvier or thinner or whatever. Let's change freaking everything. And, it's interesting to me. I work with so many grownups of different ages, and how many people in their 30s and their 40s are just complaining about being old. And those are people I want to come across the desk and smack them a little bit, because we have choices. You could be the old, or you could be the young person, the 30-year-old complaining about how old you are, or you can be the 80 or 90-year-old person bragging about how young you feel. We've got choices, yes?
Yes.
So we make the freaking choices, and then we move forward. So I love that we're on the same page. Again, I just want to jump through my camera. The screen I'm on, how big is it? Am I big in your face?
You're in a 75-inch screen TV. I think it's pretty big.
Okay. All right, good. I'm not very good at makeup, and I'm looking to ask Tracy about that before we go. If Tracy can give me some makeup pointers. Hi, Tracy. Yeah, I need some hair. We got Priska. She's going to coach me up on hair when I'm done yammering. But so supercharging, to me, it's a combination of physical fitness and mental fitness. It's our exercise, our nutrition, our sleep. And if you commit to all the things, not just one thing, you can't be a person who goes to the gym only and doesn't watch what she puts in her mouth. You can't be a person who exercises and eat right.
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. And doesn't prioritize your. Oh, I'm echoing. Okay. Doesn't prioritize your sleep. We have to be able to do all the things. I'm so sorry. I can echo. Pause.
Station identification.
Commercial break.
Right.
Okay. Hoping my earbuds fixes. All right.
Much better.
Okay, less echoing. That's good. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, more importantly, I can't hear me, which nothing's more annoying than my own voice back in my face. Okay, so we're gonna talk about exercise, nutrition, sleep. I know you guys have been hammered with that for the past few days, so I'm not gonna dive too deep, but I'm gonna go a little bit in to get the things I think you need to know. If you have any questions along the way, stand up, wave your arm, say Fitz, shut up for a moment, and and then I'll help, right? And then I'll answer. So we start with the physical health, and so many folks go out and walk or they strength train. You got to do a combination of things. So physical health is your ability to move the way you want to move, go the distances you want to go, whether it's walking a theme park or going upstairs at the office or chasing your grandkids all day. We got Felicia, we got Nancy, Kim, Valerie, Janae have grandkids to keep up with. And so maybe that's on your list of priorities. Your physical health goes there. Physical health, in order to qualify as physically fit. And mind you, I one of the things I do is I announce massive running events. So that's where I met Walter at Mud Girl. That's a 5K. So much fun. Every last one of you to do that. Right now, I'm at the Donna National Marathon for Breast Cancer. There's about 10,000 people doing half a marathon. That's 13.1 miles or 26 miles. You would be shocked how many people are going to conquer these distances this weekend and not qualify fit. Just being able to run or walk in a certain distance does not qualify you as fit. So we have to have proficiency in 4 different areas of fitness. So yes, cardio, that's your heart, your lungs, that's anything more important to take good care of. But then strength training. There are 4 pillars of fitness. It's cardio. Strength is your ability to push, pull, press, and lift against resistance. It's not just your biceps. It's not just your abs. And your thigh and the erector spinae, your low back muscles. So you want your entire body to be a certain level of strong so you can do the things you want to do. If you are proficient in vascular fitness strength, you are so much less experiencing sprains, and tears. The third pillar of fitness is flexibility. That's your ability to move through the full range of motion. Do you know that your shoulder goes 360 degrees in the shape? Everybody kind of move your shoulder around. Do the arm thing. How many of you put your arm through these motions every day?
Arm through these motions every day.
Not every day.
Nobody. Devin does.
So you should put your shoulder joint
You
through
should
that motion.
put
If
your shoulder
you're on a
joint
phone call with your girlfriends or working or whatever,
with your girlfriends or working.
your arm through those paces and that joint through
Your
paces,
arm through those
really,
paces.
your hips,
Your
right
hips.
around here. Do your hips go through those motions every day?
Your hips go through those motions every day.
So if you don't use it,
So
You'll
if you
lose it.
don't use it, you'll lose it.
it's so simple, right? And our bodies can do
It's so
such.
simple, right? And our bodies can do such.
What I find is so many people live in this linear world.
Find so many
where
people live in this
moving
linear
forward
world.
all the time. Maybe we
Moving
rotate
forward
a
all
little
the
bit.
time. Maybe we
Your
rotate.
body is meant to reach and
Your
twist
body
and
is meant to reach and
even
twist
against resistance.
against
So
resistance.
start building that into your life, and if you can always reach and twist against resistance, or even without that,
against resistance, or
so
even
much
without
less likely
that,
to experience
so
those
much
regular
less
aches
likely
and
to
pains,
experience those regular aches and
tears
pains
that come from lack of mobility.
that come from lack of mobility.
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys are committed to being the
Okay,
weirdo.
so you guys are committed to being the
What would you
weirdo.
like for dinner? It's silly, but it's true. Okay, so it's
It's
cardio,
silly, it's true. Okay, so it's
flexibility, and the fourth pillar of
flexibility,
fitness
and the fourth pillar of fitness
is balance.
is balance.
So can anyone tell me why
Yeah.
balance
So
training is
anyone
important?
tell me why balance training is important?
So you don't fall over.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. So you don't
Ding.
fall down.
Ding, so you don't fall down.
So falling when you're 22,
So falling when you're 22 hurt.
falling when you're 62 can be catastrophic.
Falling when you're 62 can be catastrophic.
How many of us have lost a parent because they
How
fell
many
down?
of us have lost a parent because they fell down?
Anyone? There we go. Yeah, as we age, it's
Yeah,
interesting with
as
women.
we age,
I remember my mom telling my sister
I
she
remember my
did
mom
not
telling
take
my
the weight
sister
training
she
class
not
in high
take
school.
the weight training
She
class.
didn't want her to be a bodybuilder.
Didn't
And
want her to be a
so
bodybuilder.
that
And
generation
so
was
that
taught that
generation
women should not strength train
was taught
because
that
people
women
are
should
big
not
and
strength
bulky,
train
which is
because people
garbage.
big and
You
bulky,
have to
which is
work
garbage.
so hard to become a bodybuilder. You know, it's like,
To become
as
a
if you
bodybuilder,
become
you know,
a
it's like,
mile walk and
as
all the
if
stuff you expect to be
a walk and all
a
the
world
stuff you
champion
expect to be
marathoner.
a world champion marathoner.
Earning those big bulky muscles.
And earning those
Coach
big
Walter had
bulky muscles that Coach
takes
Walter
a lot of effort, right, Walter?
takes a lot of effort, right, Walter?
That's right. Takes a lot of effort. You're right about that.
It takes a lot of money, a lot of resources.
Takes a lot of money, a lot of resources.
Just there's a lot to it. So
There's a lot to it. So
those women should have never been told not to strength train. But what happens now is the
the
women that were forbidden
women
forbidden from strength training, they're now shattering like glass.
trained
when
now shattering like glass when they hit the ground.
Osteopenia, osteoporosis, is
Osteopenia,
very, very scary.
osteoporosis
We
is
see a lot
very, very scary. We see a lot of
they've been encouraged to strength train.
elements.
for
They've been
life.
encouraged to strength
Right
train for
now,
life. So
that strength training filler is going to. Did I just go mute?
I can hear you. We just turned this on mute. I think that's the feedback.
Okay. Yes, I was getting the feedback too. Thank you. Oh, am I still on? Yes. Okay. Now I get it. Now we go. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So the strength training will keep you upright or keep you from getting hurt if you fall. But balance training can be so simple. This is actually, I think it's the easiest form of fitness to squeeze into every day. A balance training, if you do it, you will increase your proprioception, which is a very big word, but basically it means your body's natural ability to adjust and respond to an imbalance. So if you're walking down the sidewalk with your pal and then half of your foot steps off of the concrete onto the grass, your ankle will start to roll. If you have not been training for balance, you roll and you go down and maybe you get hurt, right? Maybe you bruise, maybe worse. But if you've been challenging yourself with balance training, your ankle, your feet, your knees, your hips will be accustomed to making those adjustments. So you don't even have to say, oh, hips, feet, adjust. It will just naturally happen for you. So balance training, very important. So with the 4 pillars of fitness, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you should always be challenging yourself. And so fitness is not leisurely. Being active is leisurely, and there's a tremendous difference. If you are cleaning your house, if you are weeding, that is being active, and I love that. And that is way better than sitting on your can. Exercise is deliberate. Exercise is something you do to make yourself better, to challenge your body. And so these are the gauges within those 4 pillars of 4 necessary vital pillars of fitness to know if you're working hard enough. So if you're doing cardio, then you should be huffing and puffing. You know, if you go to the mall and you're walking around with your husband or whatever, and you can have a casual conversation, that's not challenging your cardiorespiratory system. You should be huffing and puffing, not hyperventilating, but working at a time and an intensity where there's redness coming in your cheeks, maybe a little sweat, and then that huff and puff tells you you're doing the right thing. Easy, yes? Easy gauge. You don't even have to do the heart rate thing. You just know I'm huffing and puffing. This is good. With strength, whenever you do strength training, you should be challenging yourself. And the gauge to know if you're working with a proper resistance level is that grunt. You know, you pick up a 3-pounder, you can swing it around. That's not helping you. If you pick up a weight and you can do it with proper form, but it makes you, right there, that grunt tells me you are getting stronger. So go for the grunt. It's the.
Can you say that one more time, please? Can you say that one more time, please?
Hot spots. I just hit the hot spot. You should be grunting. And here's the thing. Some women say, well, I only want to tone. And then I say, what the heck is toning? What is that? Toning does not exist. Toning is not a thing. Either you are getting stronger or you are not. And there is no middle ground. You are either getting stronger or you are not. And if you put a workout that you're comfortable with, one that you can always do, and you're not doing the grunt thing, if you combine that or pair it with aging, you will get worse. So if you want to continue getting better, and ladies, I'm looking at you, there is not one of you without the capacity to age backwards. Do you want to feel younger next week, next month, next year? Yes. You want to look better. Do you want to perform better than you do right now? You have the complete and utter power to do that. You just have to push the envelope.
You have to push the envelope.
You know, you could stop right now and nail the entire deal. And I know you got more, but I just like, it's the right noise. It's the right noise.
I love you, Walter. Okay, so moving on from that, you're grunting, right? You're doing huffing and puffing, you're grunting. When it comes to mobility and stretching, if you want to become more mobile, more flexible, you still have to challenge yourself, right? And so the gauge there is when you go through a stretch and then you wince. You know that funny face you make when it's a good stretch? You're like, ee, right there. You make a little weird sound. That means you're making progress with flexibility. So if you're only going to do what you can already do, that's not making you better. So it's huff, puff, grunt, wince. And then with balance training, we're aiming for the wobble. If you are wobbling while doing balance training, you are getting better. That's nothing to be embarrassed of. Sometimes I go to a yoga class and the instructor's doing this stuff and people are so embarrassed that they're flopping all around. That means they're challenging their body. Those are the people making progress. So if you can, I want you to stand up with me. Everybody stand up. And this is my little exercise outfit. I'm at a marathon. So here we are in our exercise clothes. But stand up. And then simple balance exercises. Okay, what I want you to do is just stand on one foot. And hold there. There you go. Now, can you feel your feet, ankles, and knees adjust? Nod your head. I can't hear you, so you can nod if you can feel that little adjustment. Okay, so that right there is balance training 101. You can put your foot down, stay standing. But that simple maneuver we just did right there is something you can do every single morning and night while you're brushing your teeth. That's your balance training. You're brushing and you're on one foot, right foot for a while, left foot for a while, you are so much less likely to fall down. If you want to double down, anytime you check out at the grocery store or Walgreens or whatever the heck you're doing, 1 foot. And I stand there and do I care what anybody around me thinks? I do not. I do not care what they think. I care about me and my bones and my eyes and my dignity. I don't want to fall down. So this is balance 101. Now, go switch foot. Get on your other foot. You might feel it more or less challenging. And now what I want you to do is close your eyes. Close them. It looks like every one of you were on the Titanic right there. That's right. Completely shifted everything. So another simple way to work on your balance is to remove that focal point. You're on 1 foot, you close your eyes, boom. Now it's a completely different game. You can open your eyes, switch feet again, go back to your original foot on 1 foot. And then another way to escalate balance training is just to move your upper body around. Flap your arms like a bird. You can do wiggly shapes. You can play catch on 1 foot with someone you love. You can play catch on 1 foot with someone you don't love. And then the other thing you can do, go ahead and switch feet one more time. So you're up on 1 foot. You can use that opposite leg as a tool to make things more difficult. And so you're just upping the ante. And when those movements throw you off balance, no, the wobbling you're doing is making you better. So good job on your balance training. Go ahead and sit down. So simple stuff. You know, with fitness, my whole mission is to make fitness understandable, attainable, and fun. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. It doesn't have to be this wild, weird thing. You can achieve elite fitness. You can be a person nobody recognizes in a year from now because you went so hard. And when I say so hard, I'm not telling you to try to be different tomorrow. 1% better every freaking day. That's your goal. Tomorrow, I will do something to become 1% better. My exercise, my nutrition, my sleep, I'm just going to keep moving in that direction. A month from now, if you aim for 1% better every day, a month from now, you wake up, you think, dang, I feel really good. This is better. 6 months from now, everybody's asking you, oh my God, what did you do? You look outstanding. I can just feel those healthy, happy vibes. You look fantastic. That's 1% better. So never feel like you have to achieve greatness overnight. It's impossible. If I assigned you the task of learning how to speak Chinese overnight, you couldn't do it. You know, so becoming a fit or athletic person, it is progress. It's this baby steps. And if you stick with the baby steps thing, you never get hurt. You never have that setback. You can just keep moving forward. And it's so fun to move forward, right? Yeah. So I see Cheryl has lost about 30 pounds. Phenomenal. Congratulations, Cheryl, out there. So we've got our fitness training. And then, yeah, I see that. Cheryl clearly made a change with her eating habits. You know, so exercise will change the capabilities of your body. It can change the shape of your body. But when it comes to your weight, it's what you do and don't put in your mouth. And so you'll see with my book, it says the exact formula for weight loss. So this is the exact formula. I do not push diets, pills, any of those things. I am a straight shooter when it comes to exercise. I'm kind of a fundamentalist, right? We're gonna move our bodies and we're gonna watch what we put in our mouth. We're gonna get the sleep. And that's just what I believe in. And there's no complications. There's never a consequence to those behaviors. So when I was a teenager, I was overweight. Bless my mom's heart. She didn't know any better, but she didn't really teach us how to eat healthy. We had fruits and veggies, but we also had an endless access to M&Ms and sugary sodas and chips and all of the stuff. And so I became an overweight teen. In fact, I became a bulimic teen, which wasn't a great time. Thank goodness I was able to curb that my freshman year of college. But I struggled with about 45 pounds I did not want. And back in the day, it was all these weird diets. You know, diets are unacceptable ever, unless you've had a heart attack and your doctor says, hey, here's a cardiac diet, fine. But to me, diets mean short-term measures that lead to short-term results. And the reason they yield short-term results is because they're normally so preposterously restrictive or expensive or punishing that people quit, rightfully so. So instead of doing diets, we're going to manage our intake. That's the exact formula for weight loss. So when I was in graduate school, earning my master's in exercise sports sciences, I kind of felt like maybe I maxed out on my fitness education. Anytime I went through a fitness resource, I could not learn anymore. I was like, I know that. And so I started reading medical journals, physical therapy, cardiac, all of these things. And so one day I'm reading a journal and studies show, blah, 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 the average human burns approximately 10 calories per pound of body weight per day. And I thought, huh? And then I read it again and it said, on average, humans burn about 10 calories per pound of body weight per day. And I thought, oh, it can't be that simple. It just can't be that simple. But it is. And so I say the average of 10, they say 8 calories per pound on a person with a very slow metabolism, 12 for someone who's more active, more muscular. But if we go with that calculation, we know that if you, I use round numbers. If you weigh 200 pounds, we know you're consuming at least 2,000 calories a day to keep up with your burn, right? So it's 200 pound person requires 2,000 calories per day to sustain your body. So if you weigh 200 and you're putting all those calories in, you're saying, hey, body, stay where you are. We want you here. If you're gaining weight, we know you're eating more than 2,000 calories. If you're 200, but you would like to weigh 150, what you do is you put that zero. It's your goal weight times 10. There's a zero at the end. And eventually your body will shrink down to that size because you are only feeding it enough calories to sustain a person of that size. And so you can learn more about that in my book, which you have, but it's simple. I don't teach diets. I teach people how to eat the right amount of the right food for the size you want to be. There's no time restrict. I'm not going to tell you, you can't eat until noon. And what's going on, Walter? Did the TV fall down?
We're back. Yeah, the TV whacked out. You're good.
Okay. So I want you to know how to eat the right amount of the right food for the size specifically you want to be, and you can control that. So if you want to weigh 175, your caloric budget max every day is 1,750. Easy. And if you stick with it, you get there. Now here's the other part. You can eat garbage food and still accomplish the weight loss. However, that also is really unsustainable because if you eat garbage food, you get so much less of it. So there's a good chance you get to the end of the day and be hungry. There's a good chance you're going to have a headache and you're just going to feel lethargic because garbage food does that to us, right? But if you want to weigh 175 and you take your 1,750 calories and you fill them up with mostly healthy stuff, and I know you've been talking about that, fruits and veggies and lean proteins and whole grains. Oh boy. Are we good, Walter? Give me the thumbs up if we are.
I can see you. You're good.
Okay. So yeah, the new highly nutritious food, unprocessed, unsugary, unfattening, if 80 to 90%, oh boy, just disappeared. I lost everybody.
I can see you. You're there.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going unless you yell at me. So
You keep going.
it's sad.
I got you on free. Go ahead. Go. You go.
Can you mute me again or mute you so I can get the echo? All right. There we are again. All right. So you're eating the healthy foods. You can still have the fun stuff, right? 10 to 20% can be whatever you want. And so I say perfect is boring. I do not want anyone to be perfect. I am not perfect. I don't believe perfect exists. So aim for the most of your intake to be super nutritious, not processed, not grease laden. And then if you want to have some chocolate, have some chocolate. I have milk chocolate every single day. And if I don't, I consider it a very sad day. And so you decide what works in for you. You don't have to do a cheat day. What does that mean? You're a grown up. You're not cheating on anyone. You're just choosing, I'm going to have some pizza today. Okay, fine. especially if it fits into your formula. So I will let you read more of that in the book if you choose, but know that nutrition, I mean, it helps you fight diseases. It helps prevent you from being sick. It will help boost your energy. You know, so many people at a very simple level, they start getting a cold, they start getting sniffles, and what do? They find some vitamin C, right? Right? They get an orange or they get a pop a little vitamin C. Nutrition can be extremely powerful. I'm right here at a breast cancer marathon. We have 500 men and women who have had breast cancer amongst us. And we have oncologists here talking about the power of nutrition. I hope Eva is doing this research too. I know she's had breast cancer, but food is the secret to wellness. And so you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be reasonable. You do have to be deliberate. And if you do those things, golly, if you're not at the weight you want to be, moving towards it, oh my gosh, it is freeing. It is absolutely freeing. So I just posted on Instagram a reel, and I took people to the grocery store and I said, hey, go over to the chopped meat, go to the meat department, grab chopped meat. Chopped meat is probably very similar to human meat, which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. And so pick up the amount of chopped meat in the weight you'd like to lose. If you'd like to lose 20 pounds, grab 20 pounds of chopped meat, put it in your car, look at it, hold it up. And then you can see, wow, this would make a big difference in my quality of life if I got this up. I would look better. My body would move better. And so that's a great visual. The other excellent choice for a realistic gauge on what added weight is doing for you is to fill up a backpack with either weights or sand or whatever, and then carry that around for a while. I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, we'll put 30 pounds in a backpack. Lug it, go to the bathroom, do your hair, go get the mail, sit down on the couch, stand up, try to play with your dog with that weight on your back. And then when you take it off, you realize, oh, things would be a lot easier if I were at my goal weight. And so weight isn't the only factor when it comes to health, but it's definitely a factor. It's definitely a factor that could be putting undue pressure on your heart and your lungs and your joints and your spinal column. You know, the more you get closer to your goal weight, whatever that is, and you decide what your goal weight is. I don't decide that for you. I don't think coach is deciding. You know what your fighting weight is, right? Wherever you want to be, aim for that. And then you can make adjustments when you get there. So we've talked about exercise. We've talked about nutrition. Next up is quality sleep. Who's a napper? Do I have any nappers in the room? Oh, good. Yeah. I'm a big napper and I love sleep. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I instantly get excited about going back to sleep. Now, I say that I love living my days and I love doing all the things, but sleep is so rejuvenating and it feels so good. And so put a high priority on that. Make sure your bedroom is as cozy as possible. Either it's silent the way you like it to be or noisy. I have you should hear what goes on in my head in the middle of the night. God forbid I wake up to pee at 2 a.m. that I can instantly hear like Lizzo singing a song or just have all this stuff. So I have a very boring podcast with a very a speaker with a very boring voice, and he lulls me to sleep. So I know what works for me. You should know what works for you and prioritize it. Sometimes people show up to an event or work and they say almost in a braggadocious way, oh, I didn't get any sleep at all last night. I'm running on fumes. I think that's a red flag. I think that's a red flag. If you are not prioritizing your sleep and you show up, well, I mean, I don't want to be in the car with you. I don't want you driving me around. I don't trust your quick reflexes because you're tired. Do I trust that you're going to be as creative as possible or as kind as possible? You know, sleepy people aren't necessarily friendly, kind, creative, prompt. They often make terrible choices when it comes to nutrition because they're tired and they don't care and they'll just eat whatever's in front of them. And they also skip workouts. And so sleep has to be a very important factor in your aging backwards, supercharging forwards mission. And how lovely that the fitness expert just told you to take a freaking nap, right? I didn't tell you to go run stadiums. I didn't tell you to go power lift. And what I'm saying is take a freaking nap. And that might do you good. Make sure you are always recharge. I mean, God forbid our phone starts to die. Right? Has anyone experienced stress greater than their phone hitting 8% battery? It's like the worst. It's the worst. So do that for yourself. Find a great place to nap and go for it. Okay. Motivation. Motivation is really cool. I feel like you guys are really motivated right now. Who's motivated? Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine you all there together. Motivation's cool. But a week from now, when you're back at home doing your thing, it's going to be discipline you rely on. Motivation is great. But I get so many people saying, I'm going to get in shape for a reunion or a wedding or a funeral, whatever it is. Someone's always trying to get in shape for a special event. That's cool. But discipline will get you to the finish line. And there's a bunch of people that'll show up tomorrow morning. Golly, it's going to be 20 degrees here in Jacksonville, Florida. Everybody's terrified. And I've advised everybody wear all the clothes that they own. Just put it all on, right? But motivation had them sign up for this race. Discipline had them train to get to the start line. Excuse me. At mile 17 of the marathon, motivation has nothing to do with anything anymore. That is discipline. Every time they lift their knee and put their foot forward, it's discipline. So how in your busy lives can you stay disciplined? You know, I would recommend working with each other, you know, moving forward as a group, staying connected, because eventually one of you is going to feel weak. You're going to feel unmotivated. And maybe you're going to forget or you're going to ignore some of the things you learned about this weekend. And so discipline is your ability to do the thing that you've set out to do anyways, no matter what's going on. And so, you know, sometimes folks say, well, I can't because my parent is in a nursing home. My child broke their leg. My house burned down, or I have cancer. Your job when things hit the fan, and I'm going to lean in because I think it's important that you see my big face in your screen. When things hit the fan, fitness matters more than ever. Fitness will matter more than ever when things get hard. And so instead of giving up on your workouts, instead of giving up on your sleep or your healthy food, know that it is critical that you stay the course when something happens. And something will happen. Hopefully it's a blip, right? When I was diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago-ish, and man, did my fitness make a big difference for me. I became a very sick person. I was throttled by chemo. And there was a point where I went into my oncologist. It was for a 6th round of the meanest chemo anyone's ever given anybody. And so I went in to see him before my infusion that day. And Dr. Gordon said, he goes, Fitz, you're doing so great. And I looked at him with my bald gray head and I was like, I'm not doing great. What are you saying? He said, Fitz, you are doing so great. I said, why are you saying that? Every ounce of my body has been destroyed in some regard. And he said, Fitz, I know you've been suffering. I know you've been suffering greatly. However, if you were not so committed to exercise and nutrition during your treatment, you would have been hospitalized. He said, I'm giving you the meanest drugs I give anybody. You've spent one night in the hospital. If you were not constantly working on your health and fitness, you would have spent a month in the hospital. You likely would have had a feeding tube. That feeding tube likely would have caused an infection. I've got some nurses out there. There's some medical professionals in the room nodding your head going, yeah, it gets worse. It could be worse unless you are leaning in and taking care of yourself. If your family is in crisis, and you want to be the strong one, you want to take care of everybody, they need you to be well. They need you to have energy. They need you to have confidence and stamina, and they need you to sleep well. And so when things hit the fan, you still matter. Every last one of you matters. If you are a martyr, if you truly care about the well-being of your family, of your friends, and you want to care for them, you have to take care of yourself first. If you fall apart, they will fall apart too. So fitness, discipline, every freaking day. Now, sometimes discipline is taking a day off. I think rest is very important. Sometimes it's just, we're going to lollygag today and that's the way it is, but that's not the majority of the days. It's most of the days. I see, Angela, she's big in the community. She's a leader. Her fitness not only matters to her, it matters everybody that she's constantly trying to help. All of our grandmothers, it matters. It matters. I've got Danita. What would the ocean life, what would all of the critters in the sea do if Danita the mermaid were not swimming strong with gusto? I don't know what would happen in the ocean if Danita were not at her best. And so you guys, you have to push forward. And when you feel weak, when you feel like, oh, I can't, that's a baloney, number one, because you know you are strong, badass women. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't even use curse words when I do keynotes, but I feel like you guys are the group to appreciate the badass situation. But yes.
Yes. There you go. Yes.
I get that. So, you know, onward, you make choices and then you stick with them. And not only does your personal health get better, your family gets better, you're leading by example. Perhaps you have children or siblings or a spouse that you wish would take better care of themselves. Start taking care of you. You know, you do that again, your social circle is watching. You show up, now you're the fun girl because you've got energy. You feel good. You weren't stuck in your closet for 3 hours trying to find something that feels good to wear. Everything feels good to wear because you feel good. You look great. All of those things will push you forward. We've got our sales superstar. It's Sanita. Is that right? Yeah, Sanita. Where's Sanita? Okay. All right. over there. I see you, Sanita. You know, sales, business, first impressions are garnered within 7 seconds. So where's Sanita? Where is she? Hello. Yeah. I mean, if you are fit and you walk into the room confidence, it's not even about your weight. It's about the vibe. People look at you and if they look at you and they say, hot damn, she's a powerhouse. They want to work with you. They want to hire you. They want to serve you. They want to give you their money. They know that if you're a real estate agent, they know you have the stamina to take them from house to house to house to house to house. And they're going to find the right building to spend $300,000 to $700,000 on, right? So your fitness can affect your social circles. Maybe you meet the love of your life. Maybe you meet a new group of social besties, like fit besties, or your career takes off because you were caring for yourself. So, golly, I've rambled on. I have so much to say, but, you know, I believe the fact that you invested in this retreat, you know, it wasn't a $1 retreat. I know you had to fork over some money to be there. You had to book a ticket, book a room. You're spending days of your important agenda there to get better, right? You're fully committed to this thing. And I tell you, when you pair all of that stuff with some know-how, and here's the other thing I forgot to mention, please forgive me, but your mental health, paramount. It's right up here. Physical health, nutrition, exercise, sleep. Yes, mental health. Boom, 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 right there. You have the same type of choices and training you can make for your mental health that you do your body. I remember when it was before I had cancer. I remember going into my grocery store. I'm a Publix shopper where shopping is a pleasure. And I go into the 10 items or less lane and I'm in a hurry. And there was a woman in front of me. She had to be about, 173 years old. And she had maybe 75 items on the conveyor belt. And she was paying with a check. And so there I was sitting back and I wasn't saying anything. I would never be rude, but I was probably tapping my toe and thinking, I got to get out of here. How inconvenient. And then I looked over to aisle number 2 and there was a mother, a father, and a little girl, cute little girl. She's wearing a snow white dress and she had a bald head. And at that moment, my situation with the older woman and the check and the conveyor belt was not such a big deal anymore. I looked at them and I thought, oh, what this family must be going through. And cancer's bad, but having a kid with cancer, that's probably the worst thing. And so I looked over there and at that moment I decided I would never be so petty as to become upset over anything that was short of cancer. And so I had many years where I would just say, it's not cancer. You know, red wine on the carpet, it's not cancer. Traffic, it's not cancer. And so all of a sudden for me, one day it was cancer. You know, I got that phone call and said, I'm so sorry. You got a cancerous tumor. It's spread to your lymph nodes. We got to treat you urgently and aggressively. And that was a bad day. And it could have been a lot worse. But what I thought right there is, even though I was scared to death and stressed, I thought, well, at least I'm not a kid with cancer. Perspective went a long way. And because I was not a kid with cancer, I never had a pity party. Now, mind you, did I cry? I did. Did I stress? I did. But I was always working to manage that stress, do better, and not let it eat me alive. And so even with cancer, even with the mantra, it's not cancer, I was able to use perspective. Somebody always has it worth. And so what I encourage you to do is when things, you know, you got a dog, the dog pees in the house, it's not cancer. You're in a traffic jam. How fortunate to be in the person in the traffic jam and not the person in the car accident ahead that caused a traffic jam. Right? So perspective, you can always put a positive spin on any difficult situation. And I encourage you to do so. It will make your feelings lighter and it will affect the people that you're around. You know, sometimes people like to come in the room and first thing they do is complain. Oh, the traffic was bad. And oh, the weather's so cold. Or can you believe it's so hot? That takes everybody down. And we have a lot of people on social media doing the same thing. And so if you can choose perspective, you can lighten up your load and those around you. I call myself a bright sider. My mother told me the inappropriate truth a few years ago that I was conceived at Disney World. And so she's always called me the happy kid. She's like, you're so happy. Finally, she told me why. She said, you're so happy because you were conceived at Disney World. Now, I instantly thought hotel, clearly in a hotel. But she goes, no, we were on the People Mover. And we go, Mom. And she goes, well, people were moving. So I was an adult when she gave me that info. But yeah, so I am naturally a bright sider. And lucky us for those people who wake up feeling joy every day for no good reason. But I know that's not the norm, right? So you can choose to be a bright sider. You know, even if you feel a little more serious, worry comes more naturally to you. Just like making progress with strength training or cardio or any other skill or sport, you can make progress with your attitude and the way you look at the world. And so what I encourage you to do is always use perspective and then make a list of 5 things that make you happy. And so do you guys have phones or pens and paper? Yeah, can you take a few moments and just write down quickly 5 things that make you happy?
They do not have their phones. Phones are not allowed at this retreat.
Nice. But they have pens and paper, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Brief notes, jot them down. I'm going to give you another like 45 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. If you haven't finished up your list, finish at some point. But these 5 things are now your go-to when you're feeling down, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling anxious, because you are the only one that can rescue you, right? That voice inside your head has to lift you up instead of put you down. That voice inside your head needs to spring into action when you are feeling bad. And so even though I'm a bright sider, which lucky me, sometimes I wake up with this horrible weight on my chest or it just happens. And nobody likes that feeling. Right? We're all, very human, right? We get sad, depressed, anxious. So when that happens to me, I am like a claustrophobic freak in the cage. I need to get rid of those bad feelings. And I know that I can. And so I start going down the list. And for me, number one is to go outside. Fresh air not only works for me, but it's proven that it will lift the mood of almost anybody. So for me, fresh air is number one on my list. If that doesn't immediately do the trick, I exercise. Indoors, outdoors. But I go to exercise. And exercise will help you expel toxic feelings, and it boosts the serotonin and adrenaline and the endorphins that make you feel good. So exercise is proven to help support mental health. So outside, fresh air, exercise. Then I go to animals. I love animals. I know Marty loves horseback riding. Yay. You could do that. Everybody go to Marty's house and get on a horse. I started learning how to play guitar 2 years ago. That's really fun for me. That takes my mind off of things, right? So, and mind you, I'm mediocre right now, but it's kind of a cool thing to be a grown-up with a new instrument. So that makes me happy. And then number 5, I love music, but not sappy, sad music. You know, sometimes we get sad. We're like, let's bask in it. No, don't bask in the sappy music. If you are feeling down, put on, I don't know, whatever we like. We like Creed, we like Aretha Franklin, we like George Michael, whatever it is, put it on, put on something hype while you're exercising outdoors with your animals and playing your guitar. Whatever is on your list, keep going down the list until you feel better. And I promise you will feel better. I know Stephanie does powerlifting. She's a champion. Throw in some weight, Stephanie. That's got to work for you. We've got Michelle, MMA. I used to be a competitive kickboxer. Nothing is more delightful than kicking someone in the head. If you haven't done it yet, get on that right now and go smack someone in the head with the top of your foot. It's extraordinary and it's cathartic. I got Sonia loves cooking. Healthy food, even if you cook unhealthy food and it feels good, Sonia, just give it away. But I know you guys have, passions, and they will rescue you. We can't rely on anybody else to rescue us. We have to be the ones to say, know what? I don't like this feeling. Let me out of here fast. And if you try it, I promise you can rescue yourself from that. So you've got your fitness. This is your core supercharged quality of life bullets. You must do fitness, nutrition, sleep, mental health. Those are must-do vital practices. But then we have the extra things that really give us the glow up, take us to the next level. And that's going to be the fashion. You've got fashionistas in your group who can go a long way. That's Priska, right? She's the style queen. We've got hair, your home, upgrading your home, going in for a massage, getting acupuncture. We've got travelers. We got Michonne and Michelle and Karen. They love to travel. They love to cruise. Plan those things. Invest. Even if, I don't know what your incomes are, but maybe you can just go on a fancy cruise tomorrow. Maybe you got to save up 3 years from now, but that's something to look forward to. And then when you get on the cruise ship, you cannot focus on the buffet. It can't be, I'm going to eat my weight in my fee. No, you're going to get on the ship and you're going to dance and you're going to play charades and you're going to, swim and be silly and have fun, because that's what happens when you're supercharged. You need to get out. You need to adventure. You're going to plan a vacation that's based around activity. You're going to sightsee on your feet, or you're going to go swimming or snorkeling or climbing things or dancing, whatever it is. But you keep pushing the envelope on making your life better and better and better. You will not recognize yourself next year. And I see so many of you are in great shape and you look fabulous. You can be even more fabulous, even more. If you think I'm there, you're not there. You can do better, and you should do better, because life is great and life is short, and I want it so badly for you. So ladies, thank you so much for letting me rant for 50 solid minutes. I hope I was able to connect with some of you, convince you to do better. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No. I think you slammed it home, Fitz.
They're silent. Am I outrageous? Thank you. So listen, my new best, and to everyone who I speak to, much like Walter, I'm your trainer for life. I'm always going to be here. If you have any questions, if you just need to run something by, or if you want to brag about your success, those are my trophies, right? When someone calls or messages me to say, hey, my back doesn't hurt, or I lost 7 pounds, or I fit into these jeans I love again, whatever it is, you can reach out to me and I would be happy to be your sounding board. I know you have my contact information in my book. I am FitzNESS everywhere. That's FitzNESS in all the places, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I am just genuinely available. It pains me. You have no idea that I can't leap through the screen and hug all your adorable faces. You might be like, lady, back off, but I would try. And I hope we can be besties forever. Enjoy the rest of your retreat. Thank you so much for having me. I love you, Walter.
Thank you, Fitz.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye, team.
Bye, team.